Welcome back to the Course Creation Incubator. I'm Gina Anativia, online course coach and consultant, and I'm here to help you get your online course done. Now, notice how I just said done, and that the title of this episode has the word done in it. Yeah, this isn't how to get your online course started, or let's do some awesome research for your online course. This is about actually getting it done. Because when you look at the statistics, you'll see that a lot of times stuff doesn't actually get done. And I'm not okay with that because I think that's a bunch of BS. And guess what? You're different. You have what it takes. I know it. I know you've got something inside of you. You've got greatness inside of you. And an online course may be just what you need to express that greatness. And I know it might not feel like you have time to get it done. And I also know that the longer something like this draws out, the less likely you'll be in completing it. So I wanted to give you a few resources in this episode to help you get across the finish line with a course that's actually done and done 5 times faster than if you hadn't listened to this episode. I call them my 3 M's. And I've come up with these based on 10 plus years of building courses for experts, speakers, entrepreneurs, and celebrities. So I want to help you get your course done faster. So let's get into this. The 3 M's. The first M is MVP, minimum viable product. If you've been listening to the podcast, you've heard me talk about this concept before and getting a minimum viable product out to market. The other day, I was talking with someone who was still working on their signature course. He's 2 years in. Almost there, he says. Just doing some research. That's what he's saying, right? It's his unfinished masterpiece. Did you know, by the way, that there's an entire book about unpublished masterpieces? If there's a book on that, let me tell you, I could do a whole course about unfinished courses. Meanwhile, what if he just took a fourth of what he's done and just went for it? What if he decided to actually record it or deliver it live? He could be selling his course right now while I'm talking about this. Heck, he probably could have been selling it over a year ago. Yep, he could have been making cash, welcoming students, introducing more offers. You get the picture. Instead, he just keeps releasing his weekly videos, which are great. It's important to be delivering consistent content. You've heard me talk about that. But he's not making any real offers with those videos. So what he's not doing is just putting out his minimum viable product, that MVP I talked about. And I don't want you to fall into this trap. For an online course, you just need 6 components. I want to make sure you're not falling into this trap because when it comes to an online course, there's only so many pieces you need. And it doesn't have to be a masterpiece. Oh my gosh. I'm shocking some of you right now who think it has to be perfect. It has to be a masterpiece. Guess what? Your first course is not going to be a masterpiece, and that's okay. So back to those 6 elements of a minimum viable product. And I've talked about this before on the podcast. Those 6 are the outline that leads to a result, your scripts or bullets, whatever way you're deciding to get that content down. 3, a way to sell. 4, your multimedia, your videos probably, or sometimes you can have audio or you can have both. 5 is your handouts. And 6, your course site or your overall welcome experience, how you're orienting your course students. That's it. Now, I dare you to make this list and see how you can get each done as simply as possible. Strip away all the fancy stuff. Strip away the idea of a masterpiece. Get rid of that idea. It's not going to happen with perfection and definitely not needed to get your course done, to attract buying students. Because what we're talking about is a transformation and making sure students want to pay for your course. It does not have to be a masterpiece. It does not have to be perfection to get it done, to make that happen. It just needs to provide a result and a transformation. So that's my first M. The second M is mindset. And I want you to hear me out on this because I worked for years with Tony Robbins, 6 years as his creative manager. And he talked about letting go of the story that you tell yourself and the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Because a lot of times the story you have in your head is keeping you from getting things done and getting your course done, or even living your fullest life. That's what Tony would say. Here are a few of those limiting beliefs that I've heard from course creators. I don't have anything to offer. Why would someone buy from me? I'll never be able to figure out the tech. Or I have no idea where to start. Now, these are just a few of the front-facing stories that surface before you even get started with your course. Then, once you dive in, I hear a lot of different limiting beliefs in the midst of creating a course. Like, I'm not a writer. I'm not great on camera. I don't know how to sell. It's not good enough. And excuse me, that's bullshit. By the way, can I curse on podcasts? Can somebody send me an email if that's not cool? But seriously, these stories are BS, complete BS. It's true that you're going to have strengths in some areas and you may need to grow in others. But I truly believe that anyone can put a course together, get it done, and get it out to market. You've just got to do what's right for you and your students. By the way, I have an episode all about this if you haven't listened to it yet. Episode 13 is all about finding the online structure that's right for you, because online courses are not a one-size-fits-all for you or your student. So if you've been thinking, I want to put out a course, but I'm not quite sure about what it looks like, what the framework is, check out that episode. And by the way, if you've been telling yourself stories, no judgment here. Because I used to tell myself a BS story for years too. I had a story around selling for a long time. I thought, I can't sell. I'm a content developer. I create courses. I'm a writer. Then I met a woman named Victoria Gibson who mentored me. And if anyone out there knows Vic, she is the best damn seller out there. I learned from Vic for 2 years, and today I know how to close. And not only do I sell on a regular basis, but I teach all of my course creators how to sell. And let me tell you, I'm not shy with it. So I changed my story. I rewrote it. And everything changed for my business. With anything in life, you play to your strengths and you get help with the rest, or you learn how to do it. But stop telling yourself any of these stories that are nonsense. They just aren't true. And if you're listening to me right now, I want you to do a quick exercise for me. Write down the story that's been holding you back with your course creation. I feel blank, or I can't do this. Whatever it is, fill it out. Then ask yourself, what if you stopped telling yourself that story and wrote a new one? What if you just tried that on? Another mindset block is that it's got to be perfect. This is what I was talking about before in terms of creating your masterpiece, right? Forget perfection. You have to be willing to make mistakes and just put yourself out there. For example, I've had Coach Bobby Bluford on before, and if you haven't listened to Coach Bobby's episode yet, check it out because it'll get you fired up and past pretty much any of your fears. I'll link to it in the show notes just as an FYI. But what I love about Coach Bobby is that during our accelerator program, he finished his course, and when he launched it, he completely over-delivered by including all kinds of amazing bonuses and tools that he could have sold separately. Since then, he's launched his course several times, refined his offer, and now he's at the point where he's focusing on 2 tiers of offerings for his entire business, which includes his PermaFit course. Now, did he know that he was totally over-delivering out of the gate? Oh, heck no. But he had to take that journey to get there. But the point is, he wasn't scared to make mistakes. He wasn't scared to make that leap. He was okay with not making the perfect offer or having the perfect delivery. His focus was on the outcome of getting it done. Last thought on this for now. Bo Eason is a friend, a mentor, a client. He's a best-selling author and a speaker. And he talks about how he sees greatness in people that they can't see for themselves. Then he gives them permission to be great. So if you're looking for permission to be great with your course, to fulfill your purpose with your online program, here it is. I give you permission. Your greatness is there to fulfill. Go do it. Third M, momentum. Now, momentum has become maybe a cliche at this point, but let's take it back to science for a minute. Once an object is in motion, it will stay in motion unless another force acts upon it. So once you are in motion, you will stay in motion unless a force stops you. Internal force, external force, whatever it is. I want you to stay in motion. And actually, I'm going to take things up a notch and say, I don't want you just in motion. I want you taking meaningful action. Okay, let's back up for a minute. I've talked about Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I'm a huge freaking fan. It's an incredible book. Everyone should pick it up who's listening right now if you haven't already studied it. And Clear talks about motion versus action, that sometimes we are just doing things to do things. That's motion. So I could be doing research for this podcast, looking up statistics and things like that. But what I really want to do is sit down and record and take action. And I'm a big believer in motion versus action. And as course creators, we need to take action. In the book, Clear talks about the Seinfeld strategy and how comedian Jerry Seinfeld writes down a joke every day. And then he puts a big red X on a calendar and he starts to see a chain. And he's focused on not breaking that chain. Now, Clear takes it a step forward in the book, and he says that you need to pick the right tasks that have action, not motion. Now, I love this because sometimes I think we oversimplify this kind of personal development stuff. Well, Gina, you just have to build momentum, right? Like, what the heck does that mean? To me, you need the specificity. You don't just need the strategy. Like, how the heck am I supposed to execute that strategy? So here it is. I want you to stay in motion on meaningful action. Okay, so here's a list of what I consider meaningful action. Writing your scripts. So motion would be researching them or maybe talking to somebody about them, like getting feedback. But the actual writing and getting it down, I consider action. Or writing your marketing materials, writing emails like nurture emails, lead magnet emails, sales page, landing page, writing your ads. Writing content like scripting out your podcast or a video or blogs or social posts, or recording videos. All of those things on that list, I consider taking meaningful action. And if you do one of those a day, not breaking the chain. And then an important thing is to share it. Or as Seth Godin would say, ship it. It could be to your audience or VA for review or to your friend for feedback, but you gotta ship it. I'm a big fan of this repetition of meaningful action. I'm doing this right now, in fact. I'm working to lose 10 to 15 pounds, and every day I'm taking meaningful action towards that goal. So I'm not breaking the chain. Now, before I decided to do this, I would say to myself, well, I'm too busy to work out right now. But now I think, don't break the chain, get off your ass, put your Fabletics on, and get moving. So don't break the chain. It's powerful. It's motivating. I use the exact same principle with my 6-week accelerator. The group is a tight-knit family for 6 weeks working on a singular purpose to create and launch your course. And you have milestones to meet each and every week. And you're creating momentum until you get your course done. It's the definition of meaningful action, all with me by your side. And remember those 6 elements you need to get your course done? The outline, scripts, a way to sell, multimedia, handouts, and the course site/welcome experience. Those correspond to the weeks of the accelerator. It's that simple. I've broken down course creation to the simplest process that'll get you the result. Your course done, shipped out to market, and welcoming students. I'm about to welcome my newest class of 6-week accelerators. So if you've been thinking about getting your course done or you've started and it's not done yet, I would love for you to join me. Check out the link in the show notes and see how you can sign up now and get your course done in 6 weeks. Before I leave you, I want to do a little recap. 1, how are you going to focus on MVP? 2, what mindset blocks do you have to remove to get your course done that much faster? And 3, how are you going to build momentum and take meaningful action every day? I'll see you next week where I'll talk about how to make offers authentically and with absolute congruency with a friend and accelerator student. Please rate and review this episode, especially if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, and then subscribe. Until next week, go create, be you and be brilliant, and get it done.